am Hannah, and if you're coming by my channel or my post for the very first time, it's so lovely to have you here. Thank you so much for stopping by. It is such a privilege, it is such an honor. So, my name is Hannah, like I mentioned. I work as a product and a project manager. However, I am a mechanical engineer first and foremost, and I am a low-key bead maker. I make my beads, my jewelries, from waist beads to anklets to bracelets. I do all that. I also I make hair, but for like secondary school students. I do a lot of things. I also I cook for events and things like that. But primarily, what I focus on doing currently right now is product management and project management for the IT space. So, well, I believe in purpose. I believe in people living a purpose-driven life, which is really what I want to talk about today. The aspect of purpose. Oftentimes, we come across people talking about purpose in terms of marriage, calling, things like that, which are very much related. Although I'm going to be taking it from like a different dimension, which is in terms of career. And I'm going to be sharing a personal story with you, and I hope that from there you can actually get one or two things. So I am a very tenacious person. I am highly purpose driven. For every single person that I meet and for every single thing I need to do, need to sit down first and understand what is the reason behind this, what is the why. Why am I doing this? Why is this person doing this? And on a personal level, that's how I tend to assess. Whenever things go wrong, that's how I assess why. Why is this thing happening? Look inward, look outward, look around. Why am I doing this particular thing? And I've always been that way. From the moment that I said I wanted to become an engineer, it wasn't really mechanical engineering at the time. It was being an aeronautic and aerospace engineer. And this is not a story that like a lot of people know. However, when I was in secondary school, and my dad was like in a very high ranking position in the States, and I wanted to go travel outside the country because I wanted to study aeronautic engineering for the longest time. And at this time, he began to talk about, oh, no one is actually going to travel outside the country to school, that we're all going to be inside, Nigeria and school and whatnot. And I remember just taking to prayers at a very young age, like before I could really fathom a lot of things, but taking it to prayer, taking it to God in prayer and saying, I want to travel outside the country. I want to study aeronautic engineering. And I got this school magazine. I got this magazine in our school library that had universities. And it happened to be in Malaysia. So these were like universities in Malaysia. And I kept checking. I remember sitting in the library and checking. And I found this particular university in Malaysia that was actually offering aeronautical engineering. And that's like, I linked that up. I'm saying this like JS3, sorry, not JS3, JS1 third term, JSS2. This is about 2008 2009 period. And I started praying hard for it. God, I need to go to make a way. I need to go to Malaysia. I need to study aeronautics engineering. I need to. I prayed that same prayer from JSS2, JSS3, JSS2, JSS3, SS1, SS2, even down to SS3. I was still praying. Over time, my faith had kind of like worn on the fact that was this actually going to happen? Was it really going to come to pass? And I got, in this space where I was like, I'm not sure this would actually come to pass. But I was still praying for it regardless. Now, in my SS3, I got to finally apply for Air Force Institute of Technology, and that was like my first choice in terms of polytechnic. And for this is for JAM. And then for my first choice in university, since my dad said I had to be within the state, so I went for our federal university here, University of Uyo. And then for my second choice for a university was Bells University. And so I really remember Bells, Air Force, and University of Uyo. My mind, however, was focused on Air Force Institute of Technology because, it's the Air Force, so like they were definitely going to have like aircraft engineer. So that was like the second option, and based on like okay, I needed a degree. My parents want me to go to university. Bells University was like the first on my mind. It was just like something I just knew I had to get through. That was just it. So in my SS3, at this peak point of my life, I decided that okay, let me. I reached out to my dad when we started, when persons started getting called up to come write their post UME at the universities of their choice. And I remember Bells University actually reaching out and saying, okay, that we should come for aptitude tests. And I had a teacher that was, about ready to take me there, but I had to call my dad for funds and I think permission. Yeah. So at this time, he had left the position he was in when I was in JS2. So this is me in SS3 now, and I call him up, and he's like, um, that there's something that he's working on, and he will really need me to be patient. That I might end up schooling outside the country and all. So that's how I didn't go to write the aptitude test for Bells University. Stay with me. This will make sense very soon. And I didn't go to write, for Bells University. So I came back home and I forgot about Air Force Institute of Technology. I actually forgot what the name was. I started searching for NCAT, which NCAT and Air Force Institute are two different organizations. NCAT is Nigerian Civil Authority, Civil Aviation Authority. I believe that was it. And then EFIT, that's Air Force Institute of Technology, is Air Force Institute of Technology. But because I was searching aviation, so I kept on searching on NCAT, and it was always frustrating when I could not really find anything concrete about it. So now, the day that I realized the real name of the institution I actually put in JAM was the day they were writing the aptitude test. Okay, that was the day Air Force Institute of Technology, they were actually, taking students to write aptitude tests. I was so heartbroken. I was so, I beat up myself for having not got the name right and things like that. So that went that way. I tried out for Akwa Ibom State Polytechnic. I think it was mechanical engineering. Now at this time, I had stopped talking about aeronautic engineering. I had really stopped talking about aeronautic engineering, and since most of the advice I was getting from people around me was that, oh, you can do mechanical engineering first and then you can do aeronautics in second degree. And I began to allow that to sit in my mind. And at this point in time, like obviously I was still, I wouldn't say I was still praying. I was no longer praying about becoming or going to Malaysia or like becoming an aeronautic engineer. That wasn't really there anymore. It was just the pressure of let me just get into the university. Let me just, start. But I didn't want to stay at home for too long. I didn't want to, be amongst those that were not able to like pass jam and things like that. And God was faithful. My WAEC was great. My jam was okay. So, fast forward to about let's say October of 2013. Oh, okay, no, let's backdate it because I finished school in July 2013. So yeah, after that, wire comes out. I had a good result. I passed in maths. All these things that I wanted. I felt okay. I didn't fail for the maths. I got D7 in for the maths, but like my result was relatively good. It was acceptable. I wasn't comfortable with the result that I had, but it was a good result. It wasn't a bad result. It was an engineering worth result. If you get where I'm coming from. So I tried Akwa Ibom State Polytechnic. I did hustle it. Went there, filled out the form, went for interviews. Everything was already planning how the life was going to be. This is what I was going to start from. This is what I was going to do, and this is how I was going to get through it. And my dad wasn't so comfortable with your option or with the choice, so didn't really pursue it. Didn't really support the eventual option. So on his own end, he was actually making plans, and I was also making plans. But I'm not someone that likes to stay idle for a very long time, which is what has actually showed up in a lot of my choices. I don't like to stay idle for a very long time. I like to be up and doing, trying to solve a problem and all. So Now, fast forward to when the first opportunity came, Malaysia. A friend of his, you know, they were talking about their children and stuff like that, and the man got to tell him, "Oh, my daughter is in this university in Malaysia, and it's relatively cheap. You know, they can get it done and all that. 3 years, and that's where the idea just began to work. And now I didn't know this at the time. Obviously, I did not know this at the time, but it just began to play out that way. And when everything lined up eventually, we I remember them bringing this form. The first one did not go through. The first university that they wanted us to go to did not actually pan out. So the second one, I remember them coming with a form for us to fill out. And since my mind had been so attuned to, okay, let's start with mechanical engineering, work our way to aeronautics, I actually picked mechanical engineering for the school, and it went through. It went through. Now, fast forward to February of 2014, I landed in Malaysia. Did God answer my prayer? Yes, He most definitely did. Did I go on to become an engineer? Yes, I most definitely did. Are the specifics not really specific? It doesn't matter, because obviously I'll still get back into aeronautic engineering and aerospace. Now, that is the build up about, like, what we can achieve when we actually pray hard and consistently, and the fact that God is always available to answer our prayers. Now, let me talk about the idol part. Now, remember that I said I wanted to become an aeronautic engineer. So after my 3 years in the university, finished everything, got certified. Um, I applied. Germany was like the first choice I had, first place I wanted to go. So I applied, and then they told me that, oh, this one, that one, it didn't work out. I applied for masters. They said that my I needed like more years, that the whole 3 years thing wasn't really working for them. But anyway, it didn't work out. I applied for masters in automotive design. Now, if you know engineering, automotive, like the car itself, like the automobile design, that's what I applied for. And as I started registration, I did everything, worked it up to my visa, and it didn't work out. They rejected it. The embassy, the immigration rejected like the whole visa process and said I had to leave the country and then come back again. Now, I'm very big on, if things are not working out, I've tried my hardest, things are not working out, I'm just going to fall back. I'm just going to rest. Okay? And the rest period doesn't really take that. Like, it doesn't really like, oh, rest forever. But I'm just going to fall back and say, okay, what should I do next? So when that news came to me, I didn't even bother myself. I just said, okay, you know what? I'm tired. I need to go home. This whole struggle of trying to be here, I'm tired. I think I'm done. I should go home. So I was very relieved when I got that news. Like, I got to the point that I felt like at least I would say I tried everything. So I was very relieved. So my parents booked a flight. I come back to Nigeria, and you know me, tenacious. I was up and going. I was like, okay, so what do I need to get done now that I'm back in Nigeria? I did my international I did my national identity card. I opened a bank account. I got a SIM. I tried to acclimatize as quickly as possible between 2017 and 2018. Registered for NYSC, left for NYSC in 2018. By went for NYSC, I picked Lagos, didn't work out, came back, went to Cross River State, did my service, and then I came back out. Came back to now, in between when I was rounding up the service, I had applied to Coventry. Now, Coventry is a certifying university for my mechanical engineering degree, so it was much more easy to get back into Coventry. So I applied to Coventry for the course that I wanted. They sent an offer letter. They did send an offer letter for aeronautic and aerospace engineering. Okay, actually aerospace engineering. They sent their offer letter with like all this conditional. If you've ever applied for any school outside the country, there's always like the conditional offer that you need to meet before like the real offer letter actually comes. And their conditions were conditions at the time running into about, I think, 7 or 10 million. That's what they needed us to actually pay. Mind you, I'm not the only child. I had siblings. I'm like the second child out of seven. So like I have siblings. So there was no way like, 7 million was just going to fall for my head alone. My dad had not retired at the time. So like we were pretty comfortable. So my dad says, okay, you know what, let's apply to the state government. And state government at this time is trying to like empower like young Akwa Ibomites, young people in areas of aviation, engineering, and stuff like that. So I apply through my dad and through his connection. Like we apply, I apply for a scholarship, everything, write out the letter, send everything. I go back, finish up my um, signing out for from NYSC, come back, nothing. We don't hear anything back from the government. I start thinking like, okay, so what next? What next should I do? What next should I do? And I I decide to reach back to my dad, and I remind him that like there was an offer for me to go to the airport, to the Akwa Ibom State Airport, as not as an intern to serve, but because like it didn't just work out because of the whole NYSC having the thing about you not serving in your state, except you're sick. And I didn't want to say I was sick to stay, so now that I was back, I was like, okay, so I would like us to like revisit this particular thing. Luckily, we revisited it and it worked out. I was invited for an interview, and I was taken as an intern, as a graduate intern. So the engineering journey started in the airport. And as that started, I began to learn concepts that I didn't really understand when I was in university. Seeing it all play out, I began to learn, and quickly I gained like a leadership position. So like I was like this unsung lead for all interns. In quickly going into a leadership role as a young engineer and all, like, and people began to know like this is what very tenacious, very reliable individual. Now that wasn't it. Now a year and 6 months go by. This is including like the COVID period. A year and 6 months go by, and I am well ready to be out and probably find something much more permanent. So I come back out here and I try even harder this time to apply for scholarships, to push for anything that has to do with aviation, anything that has to do with like aerospace. Like I mean, even down to piloting, I did it all. I even at the time gave up a maintenance engineering job because I was so focused on aerospace engineering and focused on piloting. It was such a moment for me. Now, where I'm going to with all this is the fact that it became an idol. Like it became that one thing that I felt like without this thing I won't be complete. It became a point of like this is only what gave me joy. And then for the fact that God had actually answered my prayers, I prayed 3 times harder, and then I expected him to come in the same direction in which he did. And for every time I actually tried and failed, the more I was like, what the hell is going on? Like what's happening? Like why is this not actually coming together? And I prayed harder, did fasting and everything. At that time, God began to take me back to one of the things that I actually loved doing, which was business. In the craziest way possible. So a little backstory, quick backstory on this. My sister, when I came back from the university, my sister was selling pop pop. She used to make pop pop and sell. And I decided like, you know what? This is really nice. So I'm going to take up the business side of things. You are the creative, you are the product. I am going to protect you as the business. So this was me to my sister, like, how are we going to do this? Okay, if we put this amount of money, like how much can we actually make and all that? So like finding places that we could actually put the puff to, we could actually send the puff to, finding places where people actually wanted puff, things like that. Like I began to like search for like ventures, marketing, partnerships, things like that, and it was quite interesting because it was exhilarating. I didn't want to be doing the work, but I enjoyed managing the business aspects of things. I didn't actually know how to do the work. That's what people say. I didn't know how to do it. I knew if I wanted to learn, I would have learned. But then she was there, so like there was no need. So I came back to like the aspect of things I like, which was business, and agriculture was like the one after my heart. So I went into the agricultural space, and the first time business, uh, I would say it failed, but I learned. Yes, I learned a lot about finances. I learned a lot about debt. I learned a lot about marketing. I learned a lot about, business operations in general. So the second time, the first time that we got into it, still I and my sister, the first time that we got into it, we got the money from loans. And it took us like about a year, 6 months after that business had gone down to actually pay those loans back. Now, I didn't have any savings, I did not have any job, absolutely nothing. So like it was based off, you know, God. That's how we paid off those debts. So now the second one this time around came from an investor. The investor was my dad, my parents actually. They invested and they said, okay, so you guys did this on your own the first time. We liked it. Now we're going to invest so that you guys do this for us. And we did. And we did that and it was going well. Then I found out I just wanted to upskill, like as a person, someone that is very academically inclined. So, and one of the things I want to do after retirement is to consult and to teach. So I wanted to upskill. I wanted to get more skill. I wanted to learn more about entrepreneurship, about business. So I got into the Tony Elumelu Foundation. Also, I was actually after the grant also as a business person. But I got to learn, and then I did the Jobberman soft skills training. So I was just learning, like all the while I was still learning. I was still like trying to, even though it was longer then, it took me longer to complete courses, but I was actually still learning, actively still learning. So learning is a part of me, and teaching is like an extension of that. I when I learn, I teach, so I understand better and I retain. So it's part of it. So in the process of like, okay, what skill can I get next? What more knowledge can I gain? I decided that okay, let's go back to computers. Let's learn about computers, which is what leads me back to tech, to the ICT space. And I start learning, and from there I go into like some internships, learn some more, got into product management, and at that point in time I decided, okay, let's do this. Product management sounded interesting. Didn't really fully grasp the concept of it. Learned project management by Google through the organization that I work for, the Top, and then I landed at the Top, and I've been there 2 years now. 2 years now, and I have learned a whole lot about product management and project management. Why I gave this entire story is to help you understand that there are things that we may be holding on to. There are things that we think as career people that okay, this is how this should go, and it's very interesting for a Christian to understand that when you hold on to things, like you hold on fast to how things should go, you end up losing sight of how things are actually supposed to go. It's never God never does it. He's all knowing. So even when I think the highest level of trust and faith that you can have is trusting him even when you do not know what's going on, because half of the time you're not going to know what's going on. So but still trusting that he has your back, and that thing that you want, he would actually get it to you. So I join all the persons that say, okay, leave your Isaac on the altar, leave your idols down, like whatever plans that you have that you held so tightly, and you now feel like because those things are not working out, you feel like okay, there's a problem. There's really no problem. You're in a season, and there's a reason why you're in that season. Now, bringing it back to the fact that God actually sent me on the product management, business management, and project management journey for a purpose. Remember, I am a purpose driven person. The purpose is at the end of the day, I want to get into aerospace engineering and aeronautics engineering. Now, the world is moving fast. We're like in the technical age, the digital age, computer age, and you need to know how the computer works. because it's being integrated into everything. That technology is enabling a lot of industry. So aviation and aerospace and aeronautics is not outside of those industries. They are part of those industries that actually do need these solutions. Now, as somebody that has run a business, running someone's business, I am product manager, I am a project manager. There is a business side of things that I am learning. I'm learning strategy, I'm learning planning, I'm learning execution. I'm learning the understanding of discovering a problem and solving a problem, which is key to survival as a business person. And God needed to take me on that journey, on a different route, so that I could learn all these things. Because because I'm so tenacious, I am very stubborn. I have to tell you, I am very stubborn. Yes, most person might consider it as a weakness, but I consider it as a strength because it has saved me from a whole lot of things. At the time, when I allow it get out of control, it becomes something that hinders me from a lot, which was really what God delivered me from, allowing my stubbornness to hinder me from like the opportunities that He was laying in front of me. And that stubbornness itself has been able to help me stay focused on this is what I want to get, and I am going to get it. No matter how bad, no matter how long, I will get it. It doesn't matter what happens, I'm going to get it. So that stubbornness tied with purpose, tied with tenacity, tied with ambition together, and God holding all of it strongly has just been the drive for me. So now, coming back to it, in the journey of purpose as a career person, and just anybody at this point in time, there are going to be some ideas that you hold on fast to. There are going to be some systems that you hold on fast to. Some things that you hold on fast to that are actually limiting you from where you need to actually get to. They are limiting you from learning what you need to learn in the season that you've come to pass. In the season that you have come into, and we need to lay those things on the altar because they are becoming idols. The way we hold fast to the life that we want to live, and if it's not that life, we do not want any other life, we tend to make those things idols for us. So lay down your Isaac on the altar. So powerful. Lay down your Isaac on the altar because the lamb that is coming is much more better than the Isaac. So lay all that down. As a career person, you need to lay all that down. The direction in which you think that the life that you want is going to come, it's really not that straightforward. God will need to take you in so many directions. I mean, I was introverted, I was, very tenacious, focused on what I wanted, but then I wasn't learning key concepts that I needed for the kind of life that I wanted to build. Business, customer service, marketing, things like that. And having to go through the business route made me to learn those things. So be purpose driven wherever you find yourself, whatever it is that you're trying to be purpose driven. Have a purpose for your life. Discover your purpose early. Seek God to actually know like what purpose should I be serving at this point in time. I've not gotten to where I am going to. I'm still on a journey, but I have learned valuable things along the way that is now making me much more prepared for where I need to go to. And the direction I think I needed to go before, I thought I needed to go before, it's not necessarily the direction I might end up using. And that's totally fine because I believe that the God that has started this journey with me is actually going to take it to the end. So be purpose driven. If there's anything that you're holding on tightly to that has become some sort of idol, ask God for help to be able to pinpoint exactly what those things are and to help you, resolve and let it go, and so that you can actually forge ahead. It's never too late. There's nothing in God that is ever too late. He will make everything beautiful in His time. We just need to believe and to wait. So this is me saying your idols are keeping you from where you need to go. They are keeping you stagnated. They are keeping you stuck. And God is the only person that can help you out. So don't hold on tightly to, He came through direction A, so therefore He's going to come in direction A. God will end up coming in direction O or Z or X. Weirdly, He will come in any direction that He seems fit. So believe in Him and trust in Him. He has your back and He will do it all. And I hope this helps somebody. I hope you found some sort of courage. I hope my story was able to actually help you, find your way. And if it doesn't, I pray for you. May God help you. May God see you. May He help you find your way in Jesus' name. So that's all. So my name remains Hannah Macaulay, and it was nice having this chat with you. I will see you sooner rather than later.